Hi there, it's Grandma Rozann and welcome to my kitchen, and today we're going to be making pizza. Now, for so many years, I really had trouble making pizza, but boy, I'm telling you, I found some really simple skills that I'm going to give to you, and you'll be able to make pizza from this day forward. And I will honestly tell you, once you learn how to make the crust, and then I'm going to show you the toppings, I'm going to show you how to bake it, you're never going to want to buy it again. We purchased it for years, and now my family will not even eat it from anybody else. They just want it from Grandma Rozann's kitchen. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the dough, because that dough has to develop. So we need to start early on this one. Right in here, I have got 3/4 cup of water. Now, the water temperature is very important in here, simply because if it's too hot, it's going to kill the yeast. If it's not hot enough, it's not going to allow it to activate. So I just do it by putting my finger in the water, and if it's at a temperature that I could give it to a baby in a bottle, that's the right temperature. It's about 85 degrees. I think it's what it really is. Then in here, I have put 2 tablespoons of sugar, and 2 tablespoons plus 1 teaspoon of yeast. Now, yeast and sugar are buddies. They're really good friends. The sugar really helps to activate that yeast. And what you're looking for is this. Look at how bubbly that has gotten, and that has only been in maybe about 3 or 4 minutes. Now, if your yeast is not bubbling, it doesn't have to be this much, but if it's not even bubbling around the sides, that means the yeast is dead. Throw it out, start over. Don't believe you're going to get a good result with yeast. It's not going to work. Now, the yeast that I buy in bulk, a 1 pound of this, and I buy this at Costco. Now, you would think, what in the world would I ever use a pound of yeast for? And I thought the same thing until I learned very quickly it freezes perfectly. I have had this bag of yeast in my freezer for probably over a year. So this took the cost of the yeast down to absolute pennies. Now, if you want to buy just the packet of yeast, that's what you would be able to use. That would be the same amount of yeast that I have in here, okay? But I like to do it that way. So for me, that works. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start incorporating the flour. What I want you to be very careful of is that yeast, when it's in granulated form like this, and salt are not buddies. They do not get along well at all. They don't play well together. So there's some recipes that you're going to be using that'll ask you to put the flour in, then the yeast, then the salt, without liquid. If you put them in on top of each other, you're killing the yeast. So put the yeast on one side, put the yeast on one side, the salt on the other, and then mix them up so you have enough flour in the middle so that they don't fight with each other. This is not the case in this because we're doing them separately here. So in here, what we're going to put in is 3 cups of flour. Now, I believe the flour that you use is really important here. I do. There are certain things I'll tell you, just buy the store brand. Just buy whatever is least expensive. I don't believe that with the with the flour and the pizza, because I think the best flour you can get is going to give you the best result. So I am using King Arthur bread flour, all right? And we're going to put in 3 cups of this. King Arthur I use for all the bread that I make. I use it for all the pizza that I make. I use it for dinner rolls. I think it is an absolutely amazing product. All righty. There you go. There's your 3 cups of flour. Then we're going to want to put in water, and I have 1.5 cups of water here. This is just tap water. And then 1.5 tablespoons of olive oil. This makes for such a rich, crusty, beautiful pizza crust. Okay, there's my 1, and there's my half. Did I say 1.5? Yeah, 1.5 olive oil. Okay. And then 1 tablespoon of kosher salt. There. Now we're going to mix that up a little bit here. Let me get this off first. We'll get you in. Okay. Now we want to make sure that it's well incorporated. And now look at our yeast. Look at what has happened to that yeast. Is that beautiful or what? That is gorgeous. Now we're going to add all of the yeast in there. Okay, we're going to mix it up. And what we want to be able to be sure we have captured is all of the flour that may have gotten to the bottom of the bowl. You want to be able to get that, so I'm going to shut it off. I'm just going to get down to the bottom. Now see what was down there? See? So it doesn't hurt to get in there and just make sure it's all going to be mixed in well and mixed in together. Okay. Oh, this is going to be so good, you guys. I love being in my kitchen. I hope you do too. This is my happy place. My husband always thinks I work hard when I'm in my kitchen, but what he doesn't know is this is my playground. Whoa. All right, I'm just going to make sure it's incorporated one more time, and then we're going to let it just go for about 8 minutes. What it's going to do is going to start mixing, and then it's going to start kneading. What I have done over here, and I think this is kind of important too, is that I have gotten the bowl ready. What I did is I put this bowl into a 250-degree oven. And I did that because I want the bowl warm. I want this to have as good of a head start as possible. Then I shut the oven off, and I close the door because I want to be sure that the heat stays in there. And this is where we're going to be putting the dough for it to rise. So I'm going to come back in about 8 minutes, and I will show you what has happened to the dough in the meantime. All right, now I want to show you midway what this is looking like because we have got the yeast, the water, the oil, the salt, the sugar, everything is in there, and we have 3 cups of flour. Now this is what it looks like. If you can take a look at this. Do you see it's still very liquidy here? So what we're going to do now is we're going to add the remainder of the flour. We're going to add 2 more cups of King Arthur. You can do it all at one time, but you know what? It really kind of gets pretty gunky in the middle. So I kind of like to separate it out a little bit, but you can put all in at one time. And also, you guys, this KitchenAid is probably my most favorite tool in my entire kitchen. Granted, they're more expensive. I will give you that. But when you amortize what this really costs, I mean, you're going to pay about $300 for one. The other one I had, the first one I had for about 30 years. So what I did is I gave it to my brother because I wanted a red one. And I couldn't justify buying a red one if I had one that worked perfectly well. But when I could give it to my brother, it allowed me to do this. It was working as perfect when I gave it to him as when I bought it 30 years ago. So if you don't have that kind of money to invest in one, save up. Just save up. It's worth having. But if you don't have a mixer at all and you want to do this, don't worry about it. You can do it by hand. And I did that for many, many pizzas as well. I wanted to see the difference, and I think they're both really good. So now we have another 2 cups in here. I'm going to incorporate those. And I will check to make sure none of this is getting caught on the bottom. And if you go too fast, it jumps out and it catches your black top. All right, now I'm going to scrape it down so you can see that. Just scrape down the sides because you want all that flour mixture, and more importantly, get that bottom, because sometimes you get stuff on the bottom that you just don't want there. So get that up. But as I said, if you need to do this by hand, it's not hard. It really isn't. And when this is finished, I will show you how to knead by hand, because it's really not a hard thing to do. All right, we'll be back in a few more minutes. This has got to get completed. Okay, it's been probably an hour and a half since my dough was rising. Now, I left it in the oven where it was very warm. I left it there for about a half hour, and then I took it out. I put it into an area in my kitchen that has no draft, simply because I need to kick up that oven to 500 degrees. You want that oven as hot as it can possibly get. In a wood fire pizzeria, lower level 750, upper level 850 degrees. So the highest we typically will go is 500 degrees. So we do that. Now, you want to have a stone. If there's any way you can get a stone, you want a stone in order to do the pizza correctly. Now, let me tell you about this stone. If you can see it, it's kind of hard to see because it's against this is from France. And this is, I will tell you the name, but I will spell it for you first. It's E-M-A-I-L, Henry. I would pronounce that Emile Henry. I'm quite sure the French would be outraged at my pronunciation, but I don't know how to pronounce it their way. As we know, the French make the best breads on the face of the planet. So I was in Williams-Sonoma, which I consider to be a pretty high-end cooking store. I love their products. And I happened to be looking at this particular pizza stone, and I'm wondering, why in God's name would anybody pay $80 for a stone when you can go to Walmart, you can go to Target, you can pick them up for $25, $35? Why would anyone do that? The sales lady came up to me and she said, "Are you familiar with," and she pronounced it correctly, "stone?" And I said, "No, but I don't know why anybody would pay that much money for one." And she said, "You haven't used this." She said, "I would suggest you buy it and take it home and make pizza on it." She said, "If you don't like it, you know at Williams-Sonoma we will take anything back at any time." I thought that was a pretty fair deal. So I bought it, I took it home, I tried it. 2 days later, I went back and I bought a second stone. That's how amazing this stone is. But what a stone does is it gives you even distribution of heat, so that as you're cooking your pizza, that bottom crust is getting nice and crunchy, and the top part is exactly as you want it, to where it stays moist with all of the fixings that you're going to put on it. So if you can't handle that stone, that's okay, but at least try to get the stone that's within your budget. Now, it's been an hour and a half, and this is what our dough looks like right now. Do you see how much it has risen? Do you see how fantastic it is from what it was, a little ball in the center of the bowl? This looks great. So that's telling me that my yeast was excellent, all the ingredients were excellent, and all we have to do now, make the pizza. Now, I will also tell you that for many years, pizza was my most difficult thing to make because I couldn't get it off my counter over to the stove. If I put it here on my countertop, it's stuck. If I put it on a peel, even if I put cornmeal or semolina, it's stuck. It was awful until I discovered parchment paper. Oh my word. So all you do is put the parchment paper down and you create the pizza on top of it. Now I'm using semolina flour. This is it if you're not familiar with semolina. You can use cornmeal if you like. It all does the same thing, but it gives it that really nice crunch at the bottom of your pizza. Then what we're going to do is grab a chunk of this dough, and this makes quite a few pizzas actually. The beauty of this is that you can do whatever you want with this. If you have someone like cameraman who really, really loves to have a very, very thin crust, like a New York pizza, you can do this. If it's someone like me who likes the Chicago pizza, or it's a very thick pan pizza, you can do that as well. Now, all you're going to do is allow gravity to help you here. You're just going to let it fall. Just like that. You're going to push it out a little bit with your fingers. You're not looking for holes. You don't want holes in your pizza. But what you do want is you want it to be evenly distributed with the dough. Now, I've never known anybody ever to roll out pizza. I don't know what it would do. I've never tried it. I'm probably never going to try it. But if you're a brave soul and you try it, let me know how it works. But I think there has to be a good reason that people do this. Now, the real pros will flip it in the air. I've tried to learn to do that because I thought it was cool. Haven't been very successful, so I'm not going to toss this up in the air. But all I'm doing here is I'm stretching out the edges of it because that's where the majority of my dough is. I'm stretching it out. Okay? Now I'm going to put it on the semolina, and I'm going to just push it out a little bit more. You can make these if you want to make a family pizza. You can make one big one. We kind of like doing individual pizzas because we all like something different. Now then, this is about perfect. So we want to put the sauce on, and the sauce that I'm using is sauce that I canned. Now, I got this from my garden, and it was the heirloom tomatoes that I got. I made this amazing sauce with it, and I will post a video teaching you how to do that because it was really, 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 really good. Now, obviously, this is the time that you're making it. You might not have tomatoes. You might not know how to make the sauce. Just use whatever sauce you typically would use that your family likes. So here, I'm going to put the sauce on the bottom. It's this really good sauce, you guys. Okay. Then, some people like to put the cheese and then the toppings. Other people like to put the toppings and then the cheese, and other people like it both. Let me put the toppings, let me put cheese and more toppings. Whatever it is you like, you go for it. Now, using whatever ingredients you like that really makes it special for you. I have got mushrooms here. I typically will saute my own mushrooms, but I didn't have any. So these are canned mushrooms, but they taste really good. So it's okay to use those. I'm going to use some sun-dried tomatoes. Now I'm going to tell you about these sun-dried tomatoes because they are fantastic. I canned these. They are so good, you guys. I will do a video and tell you how to do this, but just real briefly, all you do is I took tomatoes from my garden, sliced them, put them on a cookie sheet, put cheesecloth over it, set it out on my patio. It was there for, I don't know, 5 or 7 days. Then I brought them in, and then I just took a jar and I started layering it. So olive oil, tomatoes, sliced garlic, oregano, olive oil, tomatoes, sliced garlic, all the way up. This is fantastic for any kind of pasta dish that you're making. But if you really want to make an impression on your friends, when they come over and maybe you have a cheese, fruit and cheese platter, and you want to have a little something extra, just put that into a little cup with something to dip with so they can dip the oil, put the tomatoes on it. Oh, it's so good. It's so incredibly good. Now, cameraman likes sausage, which I do not. So I have already took the sausage out of the skin, and I pan fried it. So it's all done. Then we absolutely, my whole family loves pineapple. So we're putting pineapple on that. Now the cheese. You can use fresh mozzarella, which is really fantastic. And I do that on occasion. I just don't happen to have any right now. So I'm using just a package. And then some Parmesan cheese. You don't have to worry about any other seasonings on it because you have got such good seasonings that are already mixed into there. There. Okay. Now, if you like it a little bit hotter, you can put some jalapeno on it. I don't care for that, so it wouldn't be for me, but you can. Or some chili flakes in there are really good as well. But the chili flakes you can also do at the end after the cooking is ready to eat. Now I want you to watch this. Remember I told you how incredibly hard it was to handle a pizza on the counter? Look at this. That's it. We're doing that. Now we're going to come over to the stove, and I'm going to slide this off of the peel. And the peel is really important. This little piece right here is really important. I'm going to slide it right onto the stone. Then we're going to time it for 9 minutes and then check it. It might need a minute or two more. There's nothing exact here, so it'll be just a little bit. Now, in the event, as I was coming over here showing you all of this, if you happen to notice a vat of sauce over here, this is spaghetti sauce, and I am posting the video for this. This is really an amazing, amazing spaghetti sauce, and I make a lot of it at one time because it freezes really well. But you'll see the video on that. If you want to just take a quick look at how thick and wonderful that is. Just look at that. It is so delicious. So this truly is our Italian day. And we are doing many, many good things with Italian cooking here. So just give me like another few minutes and that timer will go off and I will come back and I will show you the magnificent pizza that you got. Be back in a few. All right, so we have had plenty of cooking time with this first pizza. And you see how incredibly easy it is when you bring it out on a peel with parchment paper. Second pizza is going to need another few minutes, like another 4 minutes. Now then, to get this off of here, no problem. You're simply going to slide it off and it'll come off very, very easily. But we're going to let this cool down a little bit because it's 500 degrees right now, so it's really pretty hot. So we'll let this cool down, then we will cut it, and then we can have some pizza. In case you noticed over here, because I've been going around this stove quite a bit today, this is a vat of spaghetti sauce that I'm making. And it is thick, and it is meaty, and it is delicious. And we will post a video with this on it as well. So, another few minutes, the other one will come out, then we will cut them and taste them. All right, well, both pizzas are out. They both look and smell fantastic. And because they're individual, we're each going to get exactly what we want here. So this is cameraman's pizza, but do you see how easy it is when you use a peel and you use parchment paper? It's so easy to remove. So we'll put that pizza there. And this is Grandma Rozann's pizza. And you see the difference? I like mine a little bit more dough than he likes. So what you're able to do is get what everybody wants. Now, the crust on these is fantastic. If I can show you the bottom, it's cooked all the way through on both of these, but they're crunchy. Can you hear that? All right, now, time to test. This is the best part of all. Okay. Look at that. Perfect. All right. Now, I'm going to try cameraman's pizza because it's less hot than mine. Oh yeah, it's really good. Very, very, very good. I truly don't believe you could find a pizza in any Italian restaurant that would be better than this. As good? Possibly, but better no. So, with that being said, now that we have torn apart our pizzas, take one last look because we are now going to sit down and enjoy lunch. Enjoy. Let me know how it goes for you. Let me know if you have any trouble with them too. And I'm also going to post a video on a white pizza. Some people are very sensitive to tomato sauces, so white pizza is a really good thing. Thank you. Enjoy.